Epic episode. I've been watching our guest today for a while now on YouTube. Tell me if I'm wrong, but I think you're one of the biggest finance, the financial IQ YouTubers out there.
Well, thank you for that. Yeah, I mean, look, the finance space is so diverse, and a lot of folks starting, a lot of new channels coming out, a lot of new perspectives, and it's so good. But yeah, I mean, 1.6 in the finance space. There are a few larger, many smaller, but definitely up top 5, top 10.
You're posting all day though, and you're live half the day. Your videos get crazy numbers. 1.6, and so a lot of people know you as Meetkevin.
That's right.
But you're also doing something else that's insane at the same time. So I guess they also need to know how would you introduce yourself?
I'm Meetkevin, and I go by Meetkevin on social media, but we're running as Meetkevin Paffrath for governor. We're going to replace Gavin Newsom. Let's go.
Let's go. That's awesome.
And thank you so much for having me. So tell me a little bit. You guys moved out here to LA, and things were different from Seattle.
They are. We wanted to talk to you about because one of the big things that you we can get into the whole history of your YouTube channel and everything in there, but for governor, when we moved down here, the biggest thing we noticed, the homeless crisis in LA. And you have big plans of what you want to do there. I want to hear,
It's so sad that really California should be the model of the country. Yet California is an embarrassment throughout the entire country. You think of homelessness, you just think of California. Everything that's wrong in the country, people are like, oh, it's probably California. It has so many nicknames. There's a nickname for everything about California. But really, it's something to me. The problem has been leadership, having just somebody at the top to say, look, the California Constitution says the governor can declare a state of emergency, take control of all state agencies, city and county, and work collaboratively with them and solve problems. And the cities and counties want that. You've got the sheriff of LA just 3 days ago goes on Twitter, hey, look, I'm frustrated by the homeless problem too. I want to deal with it, but we're waiting on the county, who's waiting on the city, but the city says we're waiting on the county.
It's bureaucracy. It's
It's toxic.
It's just such a big issue. We've seen crazy. We've literally seen crazy shit.
We saw. Tell me what you guys saw the other day. Someone asked you, "What's the craziest thing you've seen ever?"
In your life?
And me and Kai witnessed this yesterday.
We have an answer now.
Yesterday?
Yeah, or not. It was
2 days ago.
2 days ago.
Oh, God.
2 days ago. So we're just driving. We're driving back.
Sunset Boulevard.
We're driving back, and we're at a stop sign. And I'm looking to my right, and I see this homeless man with his pants off, and his butthole is just hella shitty. It's poop everywhere. He has a pile of poop right behind him.
He was lying down on his shoulder. Here, exposed to the street and grabbing it, and people were just walking by and didn't know what to do.
He was painting, right?
Yeah,
he was making a painting.
He would reach back, grab his shit, and draw on the cement wall like Picasso. And me and Kai are looking at each other, and we go, "Wow, this is the craziest thing we've ever seen
in our
and
lives."
We don't see this at all in Seattle.
And Seattle has a bad homeless problem as well.
We're just wow, this is the craziest thing we've ever seen.
And it's just so funny because you hear things I'll go home and you hear things
California is crazy.
you hear things that other people think is crazy. My grandma would be like, oh my gosh, this lady walked in front of my car today and then walked the other way, and I'm like, oh okay, whatever. But you have never experienced a crazier just social living environment than LA and Hollywood in particular.
Very diverse, which I really love.
It's nuts.
But I don't know if you love that particular.
No, it's true.
That part. It's what it is it's really sad that our government doesn't seem to care. That people. I mean, these are folks who need help. They need compassion. They need somebody to provide and help them. I mean, there are a lot of homeless folks who fell upon economically hard times. They just need a roof. They need a shower. They need the ability to go to a job interview, have a razor, and clean up and go get a job. But there are also 15% that are on or abusing substances. 15% with mental health issues, and the state should be there for them. And the street's not the place. People dying on our street is not the place.
Wait, are they the 15% of the people on the street? Because that seems really low.
So of homelessness, the New York Times put a piece together, and they suggested that about 15%, the root cause of their homelessness is homelessness or is mental illness.
Yeah.
Another 15% substance abuse. That's why they're homeless.
Okay.
Now it's possible that you get 60% of folks who become homeless because they get evicted, they lose their job, they can't afford it anymore.
Yeah.
And then the question is, well, what happens then? Do they fall victim to substance abuse?
Yeah.
Do they get into mental health? And
Right.
then that's where maybe the percentages can skew even more.
And what has Newsom done so far? What has California done so far to try to combat this?
Because we heard you have if you get elected, you have like a 60-day plan to
remove all homelessness.
Yeah.
Exactly. So right now, the plans for the next 5 years that California has is to spend $187,000 per homeless person for 65,000 homeless people. Well, we have 160,000 homeless people. So their plan's not even addressing everyone right now.
Wow.
And they want to give basically the equivalent of $187,000 per person of the 65 that are being targeted, 65,000 to try to solve it. But Gavin Newsom's been trying to solve homelessness for 17 years. Mayor of San Francisco, lieutenant governor, now governor.
Yeah.
It's gone straight down. So the policies of the current administration clearly don't work. I don't know if that's a Gavin Newsom problem or if it's just a policy problem. But my belief is there is a way better way to do it, and that is declaring a state of emergency day one. Day one, state of emergency. National Guard goes everywhere there are homeless folks. What you're describing doesn't happen anymore because that person now has access to a bathroom. My goodness, somebody having access to that.
Yeah.
So
Well, even with us, it is
No more shit painting.
No, even with us, I don't know if you've ever gone on like a long road trip and you ended in LA, but you don't have like a place to go quite yet.
Yeah.
It is the most impossible thing to find a bathroom anywhere that like you can use, even if you're paying,
And that's because all the homeless people want to use that bathroom. Like a gas attendant told me he's caught homeless people like fucking in a bathroom, which is bad, and also taking showers in gas station bathrooms.
And that makes the problem of like you feel like you are able to like just urinate outside or like urinate in a bottle because
I mean, the amount of times I've pissed in water bottles driving through LA is crazy because you literally there's no bathrooms anywhere. You have to go to the only place I can really think of off the top of my head is like Santa Monica at the beach.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. And so think about being homeless.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
What are you supposed to do? So the National Guard, initially when we hear National Guard, we're thinking like people are coming in with rifles and they're just pulling everyone out. That's not the goal. National Guard is a service, and it will be here in California to serve all of the homeless people. And for the first time, we'll actually see government providing compassion. Here's clothing. Here are 3 meals a day. Here's a razor. Here are products for whatever you might need for hygiene. I mean, females need personal hygiene products. Men need personal hygiene products. How are you ever expected to be normal without that? Yeah. So without resources, you can't do anything. You need 3 meals a day. Whole Foods throws away probably enough food throughout our state alone to feed our entire homeless population 3 times a day. But they have to throw it away because they can't donate it. Well, because of liability. What if one person gets sued or gets sick and then they sue Whole Foods? Now Whole Foods gets shut down or so give it to the National Guard. Let us recook it, reheat it, make sure it's clean or whatever, and give it to the homeless folks. That's just one example, right? But the point is, the first 30 days is provide compassion, food, support, and bathrooms, but also protect people. No more people getting raped or beaten at night, which happens. I spoke with a homeless advocate. They say the local sheriff's department in LA County says the rape rate for a woman who becomes homeless in the first 24 hours is 100%.
Wait, what?
100% rape rate. So the odds of you getting raped are 100% if you're a woman and you have your first night of being homeless.
And that would be by the homeless community.
Presumably.
Yeah.
Community. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
And you can imagine that. Like you go to Venice, it's empty streets and they're just homeless people like all on the streets.
Or like think about our block that we lived on. Like it was a completely. It was not a safe space, I would say. For even for us, I mean, when we'd walk, 8 deep, you got
your crew.
We'd walk 8 deep, but you still don't really get like that sense of safety.
Yeah.
And guess what the first thing is that turns around when all of a sudden you have 24/7 National Guard everywhere there are homeless folks. Everyone feels safe.
Yeah.
The homeless feel safe, but also people, visitors, tourists. It's going to look like the military's there, but they're not going to be guns. They're here to serve.
Yeah.
So now all of a sudden you have the public safety and you have their safety. That's the first 30 days.